Hey, everybody. Welcome to Dojo, 3 point something. It's Wednesday night. I'm honored to take the place of Renee. She's probably going to be popping in maybe late, but if she wants to do whatever, we could co. I don't have a strong need, but I wanted to say, James, that live today, I was edumacated, and I loved the idea of the predator, and that Cuba's predator was this giant owl, and the owl and the jaguar, or the idea of the Aztec, comparing the Aztec and the this culture of this island culture, that's predator was an owl, and so it was just really mind provoking. And then I just wanted to say, I don't know if anyone else has ever done rapé, but that's where they blow the ash up your nose, and it is a hallucinogenic. You get about 2 minutes maybe where you're just like mind blown. So I did a ceremony with the rapé. And a lot of people that do the ayahuasca also do rapé, and they get this rapé from South American indigenous cultures. Use this technique still. So I don't know if anyone here on has done the rapé, but it's like some people have it like as a habit. I think like they did snuff in the 1800s or whatever. People did the snuff. But it's definitely different. Tribes make different mixtures. And I don't think anything in it was hallucinogenic, but more that it goes up and it just blows it's just like this dilation. It's just extremely painful. And then you sneeze and you're like, your mind is just like, you're all your face is dilated and
Yeah, if you've
pretty.
ever smoked cigarettes, y- you may remember what it's like to like, oh my God, I just smoked a cigarette and you're high. You've got this interesting kind of psychology to it, and this would be psychotropic too.
Right.
And I think that we have lost the psychotropic adjectives in certain things that don't feel as psychotropic to us because they're much more mundane, or we consciously feel them as more mundane. And so we end up missing a lot of that medicine that's there because we don't psychotropicize it in that way. And it's interesting to see through history how certain things would mean more to people and or less to people as as time grows. It's really interesting to see that keep happening over and over again.
It's interesting because you did connect it into the evolution of the brain and the corpus callosum, the center of the brain developing, and then the lobes developing, and the frontal lobe developing. And well, then, and now I see, the culture of more and more plant medicine, psilocybin, everything is just coming on more online, I think, as our evolution, as our, brain chemistry, or our evolution in our brain needs more and more stimulation. So it's super interesting. To kind of watch the stimulation. And I was kind of thinking about the island culture, or the rhythms of it, and the music of it, and the juiciness of it. And it's just I was in New Orleans this weekend, and there's a lot of stimulation there with the rhythms and the different types of rhythms, but mix of jazz and twerking music. Big Frida is a big it's really fun to bounce and stuff, so I don't have a problem with it. My friend was kind of uh you know not liking me singing along and all that, but I tell you, if the course is good, you might as well just sing along, dance on. So yeah, the I thought the the burial thing, and the evolution in the Cuban psyche of having that much online, to think about burying it as in the honor of the owl, and as this, and that the knowledge of such a young consciousness, maybe it isn't young, there it is. Maybe not as young a consciousness. Maybe they were coming in from Atlantis. I don't know. Like, who knows where they came from before they became this island culture? But this burial things with buried like conscious burials um, in this, you know, what was it, 4,000 BC or something? It was a long, it's
Yep.
old. Yeah. So it was,
About
it,
2,000
it
years of we'll
yeah,
bury each other, but we won't have pottery.
yeah,
We can't understand dishes, but we're for fuck's sake, we're gonna wrap each other up like owls because it's the only. I mean, come on, that's a huge clue because
yeah,
you'd think it would work the other way. Well, first you'd invent dishes,
yeah,
then you go, let's create religion, and that's not
right.
what happened at all. Yeah, it's just fascinating, right? Just fascinating.
Well, do you think, I was thinking about, where dishes would come from? You'd need some form of clay, and an island might not have clay,
Yeah, but they had conch shells. They,
Oh,
I'm just, it's there's something to what you're saying, but also there's something to this idea that agricultural domestication is a much more probably a religious, not like religion like we know today, but much more of a spiritual practice. It's almost like them honoring the predator all the time, this constant worshiping of the of death
underworld.
itself.
Yeah,
Omoteotl, the whole my mom is a compost heap that just keeps spewing death, and the death keeps having life come from the death that happens, and yeah, it's a totally, it's just giving you this tie-in, and then to watch them dress up their dead like the owl, it's just blows my mind. It blows my mind that they would even have that complexity. It makes you think that all of we are so backwards
mm,
in
yeah,
how we think, or our ideas originate. The North Star, this is sort of a tangent, but this perfect example. In Hebrew, north means left. Most of the words that mean north mean fucking left. Do you want to know why north is left?
because you
Because if you face the east,
east.
the star that doesn't move on your left
Yeah,
is going to be your North Star. And so if you look up on the left from the east, so everything's oriented from the east. Remember how we talk
right.
about orientation, quaternion, identity?
Yep, yep.
You have a magnetic system coming online. Suddenly, people in China are taking lodestones, ladles, and placing them on brass sheets. And whichever way the ladle turns, they're reorienting their house to reflect to the magnetic fields for centuries. Before white man even found a compass, Chinese were using these lodestones to feng shui their home, but it was south. They used the same compass point, but they considered the important part was the south pole. And they built all this structure of, like, you would think feng shui would be the last thing after everything's built. No, it's the very first thing. It's the very first thing. And this is the same thing that happened with Mecca. If you guys have looked at how Mecca's changed over the years, where churches have actually hidden the old alcoves that used to point to Mecca. The one rock that never moved one day, and the church covered it up, and they hid this stuff. And you're looking at when you think about the compass coming online, the magnetic compass online, Columbus, one of his first maps, actually showed the New World on top. The West was the top. And so even the concept of a magnetic pole, of the technology from the Chinese, orienting you, where do you think that word orient comes
No,
from? It
right,
means east.
right,
It means
right.
east because the
East.
orient, the center of your
Mhm.
origin, was where else would you be before you've discovered magnetics? You would discover where the sun rises, wouldn't you?
Yep.
So
Wow.
it's a constant polarity. It's a constant bringing of consciousness under one central wing, under one central lodestone. This omniscience coming online, building itself.
Mm. super interesting. I went to the burial ground, sacred burial ground in off of Lake Titicaca called Siestani, and they built these like chimney things, and then they kind of they kind of mummified their dead, and then they buried them in little like little pods, right? In this really, it's really powerful. But I think they oriented it to the directions, number one, and they did also oriented it to the sun and the moon. There's always sun and moon temples in the Inca culture. So
Aztec too.
yeah, so I
There's a
was cool.
Mercury River connecting them underground that was just found, right? A few decades ago. They were like, yeah, we were looking around and it turns out there's a Mercury River underneath the Temple of the Moon and Temple of the Sun connecting them. And then the roof of the underground temple has these hematites placed into the ceiling like stars. It's just
It's stunning,
on
huh?
your way to inventing pottery, you're doing
Yeah.
this. Like on your way to, Tupperware, you're deciding that no, actually you're dead. You were here and we're dead. We're not alive, we're dead. You've got it all backwards. This is the yeah. And all about this orientation. It's all about, if you think about orientation. I argue with AI when it told me that about the North Star. I was like, well, why would they call it the North Star then? If you're saying that they didn't have that before compasses, thinking I caught AI in this, beautiful trap, and it was just like, because North used to mean left. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I went to the genealogy of it, of the Hebrew, and I'm just like, damn it. What do you mean? How did I not know this? It's so cool. It is so cool. Anyway,
Well, that's really that's really interesting. Um, anyhow, anyone has any topics? If there's anyone new that I don't think there is, but if there is, you can raise your hand. If there's a small enough group, you don't have to raise your hand. Just chime in if you got something to say. Um,
I like I'll share so my hope was raised in humanity a little bit, which was kind of fun as far as just coming more online. My sister-in-law and I are taking an intuition class. We've only had two, and we're when we come out just only twice now, we're like wow, we're both being accurate. And anyway, it's very validating. That's the word I was looking for. So she reads like this daily word. I used to do it years ago. It's like a Christian like daily journal thing. And they're really great. I can just remember resonating with a lot of the stories. Well, there was a woman somewhere in the United States, I don't remember the details, younger than me, went through cancer. Midway through, she's like something woke up and like, I'm gonna be more sovereign. She like kind of like our experiences paralleled each other through our treatment. She like started to do things differently. She started to be grateful for the chemicals that was, helping with this process. It was like, and she was just saying things about how just being in the moment and not worrying about the outcome. And so I was putting off. So I'm not keeping track of my numbers because I don't really think they have anything to do with anything really, like alignment wise. So, but I do want to get like blood work once in a while to see where my functions are. So this article kind of it gave me the courage to just look at it and see where we are, and not the numbers, just like my functions. And I got them back today, and they were great. They were great. I knew they were going to be great because I feel good, and I know I'm like just doing so many wonderful things to align with me. So anyway, things are happening in other places in the world where people are taking back their sovereignty and doing things differently. And she says, Nancy, I don't even normally read like the additional stories in these little pamphlets. And she says something drew her to it. And she's like, it just kept saying, this is Nancy. And it was just fun to have. I'm getting goosebumps. There's a lot's going on inside of everybody right now. And yeah, just being in nature can really help you get that little bit of alignment. But one more thing. something spoke to me this week about how we're unraveling all these things, people, places, and things that have really, so I'm going to speak for me now, that impaired my intimacy with me, right? So it takes me back to the stories and the conditioning. Like, oh, you have to find someone else to complete you. And fortunately, I've known for a while that, like, if I see something in Lori that just inspires me, or Lauren or James, that's something inside of me. But even the other way, if I see something that really gets on, just gives me not a good feeling, or a flag, I'm going to honor that too. And anyway, so this intimacy thing, I had to like slow down. There was so much energy there, electricity there for me. But I mean, I actually, it's connected to our power. That's what I'm getting. And wouldn't that make sense if we were really able to be more intimate with ourselves, knowing, being just more balanced with our feminine and masculine? For me, the having to find something outside of me to make me feel whatever, complete, safe, for me, that was like I guess a masculine wound. I don't know. I'm still kind of figuring. It's probably a mixture, really, because I've had both. We all have had both. But anyway, there's just a lot of energy that I'm feeling with this, because we are growing this intimacy with ourselves by allowing ourselves to feel everything and to look at everything and try and be in a place of observation. And I'm just noticing that the more I connect with my cells and talk to them and find better frequencies for them. Anyway, I know I'm all over the place. The frequencies this week have, and it's only Wednesday. It's been awesome. And James, thank you. There's just so much medicine in your research, so much medicine, and just eye-opening.
Oh, well, thanks, Nancy.
Yeah,
If I could put a cherry on what you're saying, not to stop you at all, but this morning I was hearing on, I think it was Democracy Now, that the Center for Conscientious Objection, it's a nonprofit organization that allows, kind of educates military service people about consciously objecting. Appreciate you guys being out there. They reported 1,000% increase in the amount of people that are inquiring about what their rights are, and how this fits in with the war. And this is white sun. This is what it's like to be in the white sun. Even Trump is learning. Fuck, this is white sun. These guys don't even want to fight. I told you guys wrong. I told you the other day that it was the fire lasted for like 8 hours on the USS Ford. No, no, no. The fire in the laundry room lasted for 30 hours on the USS Ford. And that was after the plumbing had been backed up. How their plumbing on the ship had rendered it incapacitated. They had a fire that lasted for 30 hours. The most advanced fire suppression systems you will find in the entire world, literally the entire world, are aboard Navy ships. Every single bulkhead is designed with one purpose only: integrity from water and fire. Every single system has been built, designed around it. It's not just sprinklers are like low tech. These guys use, I want to say it's halon. It's probably even something fancier now, but it's a dispersal that's instantly inserted into the environment that simply just breaks apart the fire triangle, stopping the oxygen from clinging to anything else. It's some of the most expensive fire suppression systems in the world. Just like I told you that Notre Dame had 2 people on guard 24/7 walking around the upper chambers for no other purpose than to make sure that the $1 million fire insurance policy that they had on that building was honored. And that in both of these systems that have the most heavy fire suppression possible, you have convenient fires that are set in the broad daylight. And you're watching these things happen right now.
So, James, do you think that the You talked about this before, and being in the Navy, that you people just didn't go to their stations if it could carry on like it carried on. So it was almost like people not participating in a very
Yeah.
interesting group way. It would have to be a group that didn't show up.
Yeah, if you pictured the Navy is sort of like a subway, meaning that not the sandwich shop, the actual it's a public form of transportation that you as an employee get to abuse it, vandalize it, fart in it, turn it around, break it. You're charged with making sure it works. There is zero capacity for anyone who's an officer. They have zero experience when it comes to fixing physical things. It's just that's what happens. So you have one people in charge, and then you have another people that actually do things. The ET typically is the one who decides how hard people work. The electrician tech. Why? Because he's the guy in charge of the power. He's going to come in and say, "Well, we're going to have to fix this power problem. It'll take us like 6 weeks." And you do not know if it's going to really take 6 weeks. There's an expression, FTN. It's a you write this thing down when it's like, yeah, well, what we're gonna do with this is just FTN. That means, look, you're just gonna fuck around. This is fuck the Navy stuff. This is just you're just fuck those guys. Fuck those guys. We're gonna do it this way. We're gonna do it this way. We're gonna. I've watched guys say we're gonna hide out in this bilge pump room. I think we can stay here for 3 weeks and no one will notice we're here. And it's a bilge pump. This is the most toxic place you would want to be on the ship, where all the poopy goes. And these guys are so not into participating in this public subway that they will choose to hide in the worst possible places. They will maraud themselves. They will use oxygen acetylene torches. I'm not making this up to create special hiding places that no one else knows exist on the ship so they can simply go there and hide. Thank you, Brad. You know what I'm talking about. This is true. This is how people who are telling you that they don't want to participate, the amount of calories that they will focus on getting away with not participating would blow your fucking mind. You could run an aircraft carrier on that. And when you have all those people in charge of the military, you don't really have a functioning machine. You have an organism that somehow is aimed in a certain direction and just kind of falls in a central place. This is why the military, the officers are allowed to shoot the enlisted. There's actually protocols in the UCMJ that shows here's how, if people don't do what they do, then you just got to fucking shoot them. And here's how to shoot them. You need to shoot them in the neck first, and then in the toe. There's this whole protocol that's built in because no one can trust anyone there because everyone knows none of us are in love with this system. All of us are participating in this because it benefits us personally. It allows us to create a pension, something to get us through the rest of the way. And we call this government work, don't we? We all know this. We call this government work. And if you have a government job like that, you get to do government work. You can take as long as you want. The machine is endless and no one gives a shit. This is part of the structure, I think, that makes communism so dangerous is and we run our military on communism. So most of our infrastructure is running on some kind of communism, some sort of group, whether it be coal miners or ASCII cobalt programmers that have built the structures that maintain everything we do. Look at the electrical grid. You guys have probably heard rumors about how fucking bizarre our electrical grid is or our air traffic control grid. It's all dangled together with a bunch of bundled wires that hopefully work. The military is like that, but worse. That why do you think we keep losing every war? We're losing to people who wear sandals. Are taking out the top military in the world. 19 box cutters. Did you know that there was 19? If you add up all the hijackers, 19 fucking box cutters allowed the most sophisticated military in the world to be toppled. Why? Because of this kind of mentality. And now it's white sun. This is great. I am kissing the world right now with all this happening. Like it is joyful. I saw a report today. Chinese ballistic missiles sold on the open market now, $99,999, like a Costco special now that you can buy a 500 kilometer range weapon, fits in a shipping container. Imagine if China just said, hey, you guys want to play war? you can buy one of these. This if you look at what we're doing, we're working in this mentality of I was trying to compassionate Trump today, and I thought about it. He thinks that he could just use force. He thinks that he could just bully someone and say, you will bow down to me because I'm more powerful. That hasn't worked since slavery. Do you understand? That hasn't really worked since slavery, because the second that someone tells you to bow down, you actually start winning because you realize, oh, this is great. He's going to be expecting me to behave and venerate him in a certain way, which means I can just set fires in his laundry room. I can back up all the toilets, and he's going to pay me. Remember what I told you about being eaten? You have the ability to change the system that's eating you. And this is something I don't think Trump's ever considered under a yellow sun. Why would he? He never had to consider this. Now, all these factors are so much more. It's not that they weren't there. Look at conscientious objectors during Vietnam, but look how much harder they had to work to be seen, right? Now it's much more ubiquitous. Now it's just built into the programs of it all. So it's a whole new ballgame here. War itself is not the same. These drones are so cheap now. This changes, guys. Our world has changed so fundamentally. It's going to take us decades to even understand what's really different. And I'll tell you, almost all of it's good news. I swear to you. Almost like for you and me, from where we're at, that's what I mean. From where we're at, it's almost all good news. I realize it sounds like havoc right now, but this is what happens when the bad furniture finally goes, when you get to bring out your dead and fucking throw that shit in the cart and move it away. It's gonna stink for a while, but it's gone, man. It's happening right now. So I'm with you, Nancy. Good thing. This is good. These are good things.
Yeah, Nancy, I'm inspired by I was inspired by your Substack and inspired by your wisdom. And thanks for sharing. So go ahead, Brad. Your hand was
Yeah, I
up.
didn't mean. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to put a hand down. I was just trying to get to the heart there. You know how that goes.
Oh
Always
yeah, yeah,
better.
yeah. I was like
Great to
hearts,
see everybody.
hands, whatever.
Yeah, right. Hey, hearts and hands, right?
Right.
The have any? Well, one thing real quick, James, you're talking about how government work through the military side. So as working in the government myself, but just at the county level. But when I came into the maintenance department, and I came in at 24, and I had some experience in construction, so I'm coming in like, hey, let me, move on up the ladder, showing them what I can do. So I got in there, and I'm the young guy. The average age was 40s and 50s, but they had been working in government for years. Is the point? They knew the game. I did not. I came in thinking, let me show you how much I can do, and that will, get me esteem and reward me, because I'm trying to actually. You give me a goal to accomplish. Let me show you how fast I can accomplish it. Right. I learned very quickly that not only is that not rewarded, it's actively fought against. So like I would do something quickly, and my boss would give me, oh, well, go sweep the parking lot now. I didn't even get a kudos for getting it done quickly, right? And when I started to plug in and move in, so I wanted to learn all the trades. So they put me with the plumber. I kid you not. The first job I went on with this plumber, we went out and looked at a water line that was a drain line, old cast iron, and it needed to be replaced. It was a Friday, by the way, so that was this guy's excuse. But he's like, "Well, you don't want to touch cast iron because you never know, it might break and it become a whole thing." We sat there for 8 hours looking at this freaking pipe. Seriously, didn't do a freaking thing. Sat in the dang, anyway. But I learned pretty quickly exactly what you're talking about. The government work is not so much focused. I mean, yes, okay, you get a task, but it really is like you're talking about, James. It's really never ending. It's just show up and don't really do any more than you actually have to. Do you know what I'm saying? But to move on to another topic, I don't know if any of you guys have seen this story about Astro Man, but I love how, like, I think this is in just it's a very small picture of, I think, the big picture, but just like you're talking about, of what wasn't possible 20 years ago that is possible now because of the white sun and where we're at. So to fill all y'all in, if you hadn't seen, so
Yeah,
there's
please
this guy.
fill us in.
So he's a rapper, musician, and he's been making music for years. So in 2004 something like that, his biggest hit came out, and his biggest hit was "I Got High." And the joke of the song is he's talking about he was late to getting somewhere, or he didn't do that, but it's because I got high. So this song was his biggest sort of hit, and this was way back in like 2004. He's been a working musician for years and years. Now we're to a point, he's a little older. He's got a family, he's got kids, wife, this kind of thing, right? Doesn't really rap as much anymore. But in 2022, I believe it was, some informant, the Adams County in Ohio, for the Ohio residents here, right? He, an informant told the sheriff's office that he had massive amounts of drugs in his house. They were given a no-knock warrant by the judge. They showed up at his house, broke down his gate, kicked down his door. He wasn't home, so they proceeded to raid the home looking for drugs. Oh, by the way, the informant claimed he'd had a sex dungeon in his basement, that he had people down there, right? They come in there and they perform the search. He doesn't even have a basement at the house. But the funny thing was, he's got cameras. He's got the Ring cameras inside and outside. So he saw the whole thing. So he apparently was watching this thing happen. He was away, couldn't do anything about it. So you want to talk about how powerless you feel that someone's raiding through your house, and you kind of know in yourself, you don't know what they're there for. You haven't done anything that you know of wrong. Here's the beautiful part of it. Because he had all that security footage, and as it happened, he got on after the raid was kind of concluding and they didn't find anything. They found no drugs, which is kind of funny because the guy, his big hit was I Got High. You almost would figure you'd find something just because, I mean, come on. But for whatever reason, he had nothing, absolutely nothing. So as they're talking to his wife and kids, because they come back home and he's away somewhere else. So they've got him on a call right there, a Zoom call. He's just trying to figure out. So he's asking them, am I under arrest? Have I been charged with anything? No, not as of yet. No. So he finally asked one of the officers, because he's seen all the damage. He's like, well, are y'all at least going to help me fix my door and all the damage you did? And apparently the officer smiled at him and said, we don't have to do any of that. So this ends that incident, right? So this man has just been basically, what you feel powerless, right? Power has been abused right in your face, right? And basically laughed at you for it, kind of, right? So this man went back through all his security footage, and he found just sort of little bits. One of the big ones was apparently one of the officers was walking through the kitchen with his gun drawn on the on the raid, and there was a lemon pound cake sitting in a cake pan right there on the counter, and he happened to glance at it. Oh, he couldn't just once. It caught his attention. He glanced back at it. Oh, this man saw that lemon pound cake. So what Afro Man did was made like songs. He took the footage of that and made a whole song called Lemon Pound Cake, just making fun of this officer, just trolling him so hard. Well, he did that with several of the other officers that were involved in that, just made fun of them out of what he saw that they did. Here's the great thing about it. He really had no legal recourse, right? He was not getting any of his, he was not getting reimbursement for, apparently it's like $20,000 in damage, right? He was getting no reimbursement, but this is what he decided to do. He made songs, he parodied these people who had done this sort of stuff, but he really had nothing that he could do. The great part about it is the officers apparently had their feelings hurt so bad, were so embarrassed, they filed a defamation case this year. It went to court just the other week. And I didn't know you follow defamation cases, but apparently in a defamation case, you have to, prove the damage that's done to you. So the way this played out was the officers that filed the defamation case were trying to prove in a court of law that he had, defamed them. And defamation means you have to actually suggest something true about their character. If you're just parodying somebody, that's not defamation. And apparently this is where the whole case sort of fulcrumed on is those officers sat in there and basically tried to pretend that it was like, so they asked one of the guys, he told the officers that he teased him. He said he had sex with his wife. And he called it, and the name of the song was He's a Son of a Bitch. And in the song, he claimed his wife had sex with the guy's wife. The Afro Man's attorney asked this officer, we being a son of a bitch is kind of an opinion, right? We can't really prove that, can we? And the officer responded, well, no, she's dead already. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that he even responded that way about his mother, it was just hilarious. And then he asked about whether or not he knew he had not had sex with his wife, that was a joke. And he had to claim that he didn't know whether he had or had not had sex with his wife, right? So these officers sat there in that courtroom and basically had to pretend to cry as they played these songs in courtroom. And I'll wrap this up. But the funny thing was he used what was available to him And his response to the prosecutor was, I thought the way he put it was fine, was great. But look at how the white sun burned the hell out of all these folks who abused power. And 20 years ago, guess what? They would have got away with it. They would have gotten away with it. But now, in the white sun, because of everything being like it is, it was actually able to be played out the scene for what it was, and that basically these officers were basically exposed for looking ridiculous. And if you saw them read the verdict, because even the judge, you could feel the ticket, because it was very not, it was not a big case like where there's bells and whistles in the courtroom. It's very humdrum. But if you saw the footage of the judge having to read the verdict and the officers sitting there having to sort of listen to it, and the other thing is, it happened really quickly. The jury, it was cut and dry. This wasn't drawn out. The jury came to the conclusion very quickly and saw through it and was just like, yeah. So I'll end it by saying this: 20 years ago, again, this wouldn't have happened, but this man was able to sit there when the prosecutor asked him, and he said, do you think you had a right to do this? Basically what he says, they come in and kick down my door. Had they not done this, none of this would have happened, but they come in and kick down my door. I took my bad time, went to my backyard, used my freedom of speech to make a good time. And he said, I think I'm a freaking sport because I didn't go seeking revenge. I just made a good time out of it. And I just thought that was a brilliant, we talk about Mary Prankster and stuff all the time. I don't think this man looked for, he didn't look for this. It just happened to him. But the way he responded to it and the way he shone the spotlight on the police, it's funny because it's the story now where it's like, I think almost everybody, we talk about how the broad public feels about Trump. I think most of the public is way over Trump. Same with like anyone who's aware of this Afro-Man case. I don't know almost anyone who's defending the officers. Even people who would be pro-police would have a hard time defending these people's actions. And I just think that's a great little story and an encapsulation of what we're talking about, of where we're at with the white sun, where I don't think that these things are, they're just not gotten away with in the same way, because it's just, but I like I said, I love how he handled it. And I thought that was a great sort of, again, not because we talk a lot about times when you see the violence out there and you want to react violently, but in a certain level you can't, because that's where it's at. I loved how he didn't use violence. He used his freaking head and all this, and basically turned the entire situation. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, it says he took $5,000. They seized $5,000 from his home in cash. And
do you want to hear about how I don't know if you're reading
they
that.
didn't give it all back to him. Go ahead.
Do you want to know how they justified that? The officer that counted it basically claimed in court that he can't count too good. That absolutely happened. And that was how he claimed he didn't steal. He said, look, I had a hard time counting it. A grown man, these are all officers with guns acting like, but yeah, that was their excuse for that.
Yeah.
That was actually the biggest part they thought they might have a key on, because he called them thieves.
Yeah.
And so that was their biggest chance at that. Proven defamation.
Once Web3 gets here, it already is, but once, and I'm just sorry, but it's going to happen. And once everyone's pretty much having to use that, I think you're going to find that the whole, the end of needing police is actually a little bit more doable than you think. The method that we use to apprehend suspects is very animalistic. It's very primitive. The way we chase someone down, put them in our car, take them to court, give them bail, all this other stuff. It's very primitive, and I don't know if that's going to survive in the white sun, which is why, honestly, things like George Floyd happen. Not necessarily because George Floyd was treated wrong, not because Rodney King was treated wrong. I think they happen because people are not as tolerant of being treated like animals as they used to be. And so the same ubiquitous stuff that happens all the time is suddenly we have an issue with it. So how do you run a society that doesn't want to be treated like an animal? And I think that smart contracts is how that will be. This is why cities are becoming smart. You're looking at municipalities that basically will just cut off privileges, i.e. services, access to things, whether it be the telephone, the internet, the power grid. I have an issue with my town with the garbage. I have no other choice but to use them as some kind of service. This would be the next level or phase of controlling someone in a more, I'm going to use the word dignified way, because ultimately we are the ones that dictate how we will be treated. We are the ones that will do that. And the thing about the Web3, if you don't know what Web3 is, it's a very identity intensive kind of internet experience. Um, right now, your identity is pretty much traceable on all things, but Web3 would make it more of a contractual thing where they would know that it's actually you using the computer, not necessarily the IP address using the computer. It's a much more uh, self self self-anointed, self-responsible kind of a thing. It's kind of scary, but it's scary because I think there's an overall. I think the hyena requires systems like this to be put in place because the hyena is not willing to uh, sovereignize themselves, and they end up needing a system like this to impose itself on them to make them behave better, the same way the legal system does, the same way you start with, well, you threw that trash on the ground, now we're going to create a penal system to punish you for that. It's a weird thing. You're looking at the behavior itself and you're like, well, what exactly is this? How does all this work? And I think ultimately you're looking at an entitlement expressing itself across a group. So the group feels entitled to a certain amount of, say, justice, and the people feel entitled to a certain amount of constitutional protection under justice. And you have a delicate ecosystem that is not built on a parchment that was made in 1776. It's actually built on a psychological barrier that each of us have and give our children to have, and is also influenced by, thank God, by white sun. Thank God that it's influenced by some outer force that forces you to burn more, to have to look at yourself more, to have to uh, uh, constantly be checking your six. This is the only way I think that you would really be able to have a contractual obligation with nature and pleomorphism itself. Before you're ready to pleomorph, you've got a system in place that's forcing you to adapt or die. So how you getting away from this? I don't think you are, but more importantly, I think that you don't want to get away from this because right now your DNA, since as I'm talking, is transcripting. It's repeating itself, saying, "I want to live. I want to be here." You know. So really, we just lean into our entitlement. Say, "Well, let's have more entitlement." It's going to make the system more complex. I don't think the predator will change. The predator will just have to appeal to table manners instead of a lower Ferengian sort of like rule of law, brutality. It comes down to more of you know, are you paying your taxes? Do you have a good credit score? You're still being hunted. That, in my opinion, that's still a natural system. I know it doesn't sound great, but it is a natural system. And ultimately, you're noticing how much more power the prey has over the predator. Look at Donald Trump. Look at Iran. Iran's supposed to be the rabbit, the poor innocent rabbit, the I'm sorry, the not innocent, but the just to make this real too, they're the prey. And look at it's just such a bitch slapping. Such a bitch slapping right now, you know? So yeah, what if predator prey isn't going to be here in a few years? Like in our system. What if
What
that is now outdated too, you know? All these are possible.
what if the outward expression of war that our young country has inflicted turns its focus on its people? Like total turns, right now Palantir does all these things for the predator with the prey of the world, but after this last move, I think it might turn itself on itself.
I think it that could happen more. I'm saying more because I want to remind you that this already happened.
Yeah.
The FBI said, I did a show about this. I'm not expecting everyone to see this a while ago, but the FBI said, hey, guess what? Most violent, dangerous threat to America is white guys. They said that. They're like, our big enemy is white guys. And they did a full report on it. It's these kind of white guys. They dress like this. They act like this. They look like this. They go on these forums. They think these things. These are the white guys. These are the ones. We are hunting them now. And so we've been hunting white nationalists for a long time. And isn't it interesting that the very people that the FBI is hunting, we are saying that the government is being run by them?
Yeah. Not weird.
It's a fascinating relationship between predator and prey. Because
Mm.
I thought about this too, Lori. When you have a Department of Defense that runs the largest employer in the world, there's a problem when you go after your own because you cannibalizing your own system. So it's not as sustainable, right?
Right.
So you have to be always looking for an outward vulnerable opponent. But the problem is the opponents that we find outside of our borders are in it for keeps. They're like, well, shit, if you want a fucking war, we're going to fucking war. Meanwhile, we're so pansy about it because why? Because they're flower wars.
Mm.
We are living in the flower wars. America is having flower wars, pretend wars that do nothing but stimulate our economy. What will happen when we start to see this? When we understand the true nature of what America is. When you start to look at the history and just fuck. If people saw this Templo Mayor, this bicameral, if they saw this, I just the amount of Lemurian evolutionary jumps that would take place in a lifetime would just be it'd be so guy-rific. It'd be amazing. So yeah, this is the Nero of Rome, the the underbelly of the disgusting things that cause these beautiful architectures to get built, these beautiful civilizations to be created, you know. It's
Yeah. It's interesting because as I go through the town and I take the pulse, I went to the thrift store today and I know a lot of the people that volunteer there, and everyone is waking up. They're saying things, like they don't want to use a digital currency. There's places that don't do cash anymore, and so everyone's kind of getting this like white sun experience. And I was thinking, Brad, back in the day as an artist, the best the best marketing is publicity. So setting yourself up to get negative publicity would be the thing that people did, and like an Andy Warhol, just is doing certain things to get that level of attention on you. So I think now with all of these places and spaces where we can be our own artist with AI, I think that's really an interesting thing. There's a law coming in that there's something about just like they don't have they you have no way of knowing. There's so many ways that a creative person can run like James, you ran that your book through AI as an editor, but now they're going to say that you can't be a published author because you've ran it through AI. There's a lawsuit right now with this woman who wrote Shy Girl, and a big publishing house got it. And I thought that was really interesting that they dropped her, and because her art was already controversial because it was AI, and a folk artist claimed that it was her art, and whose art is anyone's art, and all words are like running through other people's words, and it's all kind of like all mixed up right now in this very strange place where we have a lot of freedom, but then there's this other part that it's like you're getting judged or looked down upon in this other world where people don't want things to change. And so it's a clashing of like the AI is running the war but it's really losing the war because look, I don't think Iran is running it they're running some other 7,000-year-old program with topography of knowing their land and what is their success in their geography, not in a mindset that just thinks a new war every month.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting to think where we are. It's like so many things are run, like financial systems run with AI. You know, all the creativity going through the AI, the wars through AI, and then we're like, I don't know.
It's a mass decentralization
I
too.
think
Yeah.
Go ahead, Clint.
like the American Kool-Aid is watering down, you know, like our propaganda has probably been the worst for so long. We believe we like finally people are really like, oh, we're not really the greatest place on earth. You know, we're not as free as we think we are. We clearly have the same problems we had in World War II right now, World War One, whatever. It's all been in control. I'm frustrated as fuck right now. It's so hard to deal with the fact that, like, yeah, it's cool. Maybe they're not losing this war because they're truly the right, you know.
Mhm.
We should be letting places be, you know. We are the youngest country. Why are we the fucking world police? Because we're sponsored by and the kingdom, right? I mean, all these districts of Columbia, whatever it may be, you know, the corporation of America, it's coming to an end, I guess. And it will get turned on us, the people, because the rest of the world knows it's our government that seems to be the most corrupt and fucked on the planet. And if you don't want to play or pay to play, like Trump's talking about getting paid to end this war and shit, like, and he's gonna run his thing forever. He's like, I won't be president, but I'll run my peace thing if you want to pay $1 billion to be in here. And I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm frustrated, guys. I love you all.
It's okay. You know,
What this is here for, Clinton.
Iran has done more to remove U.S. presence in the Middle East than anything in my entire lifetime.
Yep.
Just
That's the
this
good
year.
news.
Yeah, now we're pulled out of Iraq,
Yep.
which was just holy shit.
And all the money laundering through Dubai.
Yeah,
That stopped. That
it took
stopped.
so long
Yeah.
to get that happening. And it's all happening now. It's all happening right now on our watch. And I can't think of a better person to facilitate this uh, white sunning of America than Donald Trump to be at the helm for everyone to see that guy and go, yeah, man, this is who you've hitched your wagon to. What do you want to do? And everyone's unhitching, and it's thank God, it's beautiful, you know.
Yeah, because I feel your frustration,
Yeah,
Clinton, but do you not somewhat feel that side of it? The fact that you do see people unhitching, the fact that, like James Tom, you were just on a minute ago about the FBI identifying that it was a sort of a certain subset of white dudes that were the actual biggest problem, like within the country. That the fact that how does that not correlate to Trump being the lightning rod for that mindset? Because is it not? And is it not the
right.
fact that you
No,
just see,
I agree.
I,
Definitely. That's the
the,
other side of the sword. It's beautiful to see. It's just, I guess because I feel like I've been here for a long, long time. And so it's like, holy shit, people are finally here. But the fucking guys we're still letting them, giving them a microphone and letting them talk. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly,
we're
man.
devaluing the brand. Like,
yeah.
we have this thing. People kind of believe that we had a good gimmick for a fucking long time. And yes, definitely, he is definitely the person to have a liquidation sale. You know, he can burn anything to the ground in the most profound and efficient way. And he's doing it. It's just, it's crazy that it's like we're learning how fucked it is really quick. It's like it took 30 years to notice stuff before. Now it takes 3 months or a
Yeah.
week.
See,
Or he's
you
like,
want to talk about
oh,
the timing of
we're
that?
in talks
Yeah.
with right, we're defeating Iran. And then, you know, so I see this Secretary of War in these videos. They have like Lil Wayne fireman music to like these fucking aerial bomb explosions. And then Iran is sending these like Lego movies to troll Trump. And that's the world we live in. We live in this like TikTok AI short world. That's the war. It's beautiful that it's like coming to
That's a
light, but
segment of
it's
the world,
so
though, right?
childish at how we're doing it. We're like really like just little babies. It's funny.
Hey,
We're so
and I
much
get what
better
you're
than
saying,
this.
Clint. That is the world we live in terms of like what we're seeing on the online world. But can I just add to that the fact that on the other side of that too, I think the more people who are maybe coming to this conclusion that, oh, the government maybe not be what I thought it was, the world may, but that in and of itself, those people I think tend to, as they do that, start to pull out of the crazy social world you're talking about. I mean, I think the social media has great, it's done wonders for one place, but you see what I'm saying? I think that the people who kind of start to wake up to that start tuning out of that. And the last bastion of those playing in the Lego videos and the trolling videos are those who are completely attached to like, this is all, there's nothing else. And I think that the folks who are kind of like us, or I mean, just trying really to be more honest with ourselves in these kind of ways, right? I really think that we're facilitating that. I don't even know that I see this right, but you probably understand what I'm saying is like I think we're creating an energy that's outside of that. So it's not that world you're talking about does not exist and it's gotten so stupid at one level, but that's not the entire world. That's not the entire universe. That's just one little thing that's going out here, and it seems like all of that's collecting there. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like I think that there's other energies,
Yes.
very grounded and very organic. And I don't think AI is bad, by the way. I think it's a tool, but I think we have to learn how to use it. So these, like Laura, you're talking about the lawsuits and such. I do think all this will get worked out, and I don't think that using AI as a tool is anti-creative. I think that the big thing we're trying to distinguish is just when something's presented in a way as organic that's not organic. But I kind of think all that works itself out somewhat naturally, because going back to I think something we've mentioned before about the fact that AI art, for example, the longer you engage in AI art, the more generic it becomes, the more the appetite starts to grow for just something organic. So, for example, even something like a sour freaking note. You would think no one want to ever hear a sour note, but guess what? After you've heard auto tune just drummed into your head for years, you would love just to hear a sour note, just to know it's freaking human again. And I do think that kind of stuff works itself out.
Yeah, I see that, Brad. I see that there's a renaissance
electric.
Yeah. There's a renaissance happening of like grassroots, like people really wanting to get their hands in the dirt and really wanting to see something real or hear live music or, there's just, it's a human to human thing. It's nothing wrong with AI. It's just that it's in its infancy on who owns what. But there is nothing new under the sun in art anyway. Everyone copies everyone else. So, it's just you put your own spin on
I think
it.
a lot of people.
Go ahead, Clinton.
We lacking, showing up and saying, well, no one's like, oh, here's how you farm.
Hey, Clinton, turn your video off so that we can. You're breaking up a little bit. So if you turn your video, maybe you'd get a better signal. And try again.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
I just feel like we're getting to that place, right? People wanting to eat better food. Like I feel like I think it's Killer Mike lyrics. Like everybody wants bread, but nobody's a baker. So it's like we need the solution. I think there's probably a lot of places like our group here, and like Nancy brought that up. Like there's a lot of great energy that we find in our group. I feel like it sounded really negative there for a bit, but it's just,
no,
we need more.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, I want to encourage you to still feel like this is taking forever and this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
because I want to remind you of the kind of medicine. And I'm sorry to jump ahead of you, Dark Bloom, but let me just put this out. This is going to sound really painful, but I want you to imagine what it's going to feel like for a veteran who spent his entire life encouraging his child or his grandson to go to war, to finally be told that his prodigy, his offspring, died for Epstein pedophile. This is a kind of medicine that would require, this is a broccoli, this is the Brussels sprout. It's a digestive lesson that has to be learned through multiple lifetimes, and that the shame is backwards. It just as you have shame from things that happened in your past, so too does your past feel the shame of the karma that it put you through by turning you into a Marine jarhead who's just going to say yes and shoot whatever you're told to shoot, and then to be praised and golden child like that than to genetically pleomorph your family into becoming killer Marines that have zero compassion for anything else except for killing things. The only way you're going to vitriol that kind of plant life, because this is a living organism, the entire lifespan, not the individual life, the entire lifespan of that family line has to be invigorated with the vitriol, the deep core shame of I just fucking lost my kid to Epstein and fucking Trump. You would need something that toxic to ring, because it's the only way you would store. Think about the cerebellum of the entire DNA line, a kind of core shame, the same way you would, Lori was talking about her fear of heights. You need something that's rigorously going to fucking make you remember, do not worship pedophiles. Because this is not what's going to get you here. And that you're looking at an entire country that is full of people that have been built, raised in the ribs, the red and white Mictland ribs, Mixcoatl ribs, the Uncle Sam ribs of fresh hearts who are going to die to be eagle warriors. Fuck. You're going to need medicine that's this deep, that's this shameful, that's this embarrassing, Clinton. It needs to be this embarrassing times a million more, like more, in order to teach these people. You better find some fucking entitlement, because you're no better than the pedophile. You're actually worse, because you're the one killing everyone on their behalf. You fucking son of a bitch. Are you ready to grow up now or not? Do you want more white sun or not? And your choice is either worship pedophiles or fucking drink the tit of the white sun. And everyone's going to choose the white sun. They're going to do it. But you got a lot, got a lot of lactate to. I'm sorry, I'm not going to take this analogy any further. You get what I mean. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Go ahead, Darkwing.
That, James.
I was just thinking about the patterns here and how what we're watching in real time is this remembering that we've always been magic. So Lori, you were saying we're getting beaten by these individuals who are literally just wielding the power of the land. Yeah, you're the greatest military in the world, quote unquote, is being outdone by natural geomancers right now. Like that's what's happening. And you're seeing the power of magic through that. And then I saw something and I thought about James's stream where he was talking about the US government going in and actually cleaning up Cambodia. So I guess one of the moves right now is to take out the Iranian military, or their not military, their navy. Okay, how are all the mines going to get removed in the Strait of Hormuz then? So what, this is Cambodia in the water now? All of these things just coming back. Okay, so but we're getting it faster.
Yeah.
Before COVID, we went through a Doe versus Rumsfeld thing in the middle 2000s. Okay, so 20 years ago. So they ran that play and they had to wait 20 years to run it again. Now they ran COVID and we haven't even got 5 years. And to hear that people in the military are finally, playing legal foo, or just, hiding in a place that is apparently deadly, or doing whatever, just wasting the clock time. That's the power that we've had. We're allowed to be magic, and it's great. It's just great to be here and witness that with you guys. So thank you.
Thanks, Darkbloom. I remember in the 2000s, I was working in the corporate world where the pace and the innovation of product to market, it was like a 6 month. You had about 6 months. You had to introduce a new show every 6 months. And my husband at the time was working in a naval shipyard, running paper on submarine rehauls. And Renee's here now, so she put something in the chat with the Mercy coming into Portland. Great. But in order to do a rehaul on a boat, it was phenomenal slowness of protocol and paper, and it was just like the slowest moving thing. And it was years out when these atomic subs were going to be coming into the thing. And it was all of this, like, and we're on a every 6 months and major turns in technology. I mean, it went from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional to all of this stuff. And his was like, and all the people that worked in that land, they just wanted to get to 55 and retire. That's what they were there for. They were just doing their time to get the pension and to live their life. And he still thinks it was the best thing ever because he's living his best life ever because he got the prize of the time. He was like in jail. I was like, so anyhow, it's just my observation of what it's like to be the corporation yourself. Like,
Yeah.
we are the corporation and we are having these iterations, like a reinvent. And there's people in these systems that, they're it's slow, but the reinvent is still happening because the white sun is like, it's the real is still happening. It's real. So go ahead, James.
My dad's been my dad's retired and he worked at a really big corporation. I'm just trying to leave it out of this. And he's telling me that about the culture, but through his whole career. And he was living in culture where mostly the office was used as a kind of like a bar, like a pickup joint for like meeting women and stuff. And like you would actually get hired for your ability to find ladies and stuff. And you were expected, if you were going to be running the corporate office in Fort Myers, for example, then when the boss who's put you in Fort Myers comes down from Indiana, he's expecting you to have a good time available, and that most of the corporate pool, the secretary pool, was hired purely for that resource. And when you started to hear how he explained the entire corporate atmosphere, you can start to see what's really been there the whole time. This white sun's been there the whole time. This is why I use the word fertility cult, by the way. This is kind of what I mean by that. I'm not trying to limit it there because I want you to picture that every vice president is not a vice president because they're good at their job. They're vice president because they have X number of people below them. And as long as you keep X number of people below you, you're a vice president. And as long as you don't keep X number of people below you, you're not a vice president. So optimizing your department would be suicide. Eliminating any job would be suicide. You want more jobs. You don't want less jobs. You want more bloat, not less. So the bureaucracy I was telling you was there in the Navy. Not only is it in corporate America is that. It is that. The entire insurance industry is a faux industry. It's an industry that sells a belief called assurance, a promise. And that promise means nothing. It is a social contract with what we think is fair. And that changes from time to time. So your worth as a non-essential worker is going to be determined by the atmosphere, by what's around you. The autist in me, it took me like fucking 30 years to learn this. I still don't know this. I still cannot understand why people are able to function this way. How are you guys able to pay bills and keep a home? That says me to the world, because I don't understand how this works. And it's because I've really never truly deeply understood the important symbiotic necessity of human nature. And Clinton, this gives me a lot of compassion when I watch hyena licking each other's ass like this. I have a lot more compassion. I don't have to try for it because I'm just noticing that this really is just what society is. It is a bloated centipede full of different people, but each of them have their own intricacies. The guy that takes the acetylene torch and cuts a false wall inside the ship bulkhead and takes half of the utility closet on the other bulkhead and half of the electrical closet on this bulkhead, and then he's got just enough room in there to sit. That guy's a fucking genius. And if he was motivated, he could save the ship. And if he's motivated, he could sink the ship. And this is the power of a military. It's the social nature. The centurion, think about the decimation rule. If your unit does bad, we're going to decimate you. What does that mean? 1 out of every 10 of you is going to have to be slaughtered by the other 9 guys. This was how you ran a Roman army. It's literally the only way you could run it. That's how they came up with the word decimated, by the way. And you didn't want to be the guy that got decimated, but you also didn't necessarily want to be the guy that like has to decimate your friend. It creates a different kind of culture, doesn't it? Creates a culture of accountability, creates a culture of fear-based mind control. And more importantly, it shows you, this is the bigger lesson. It's not about oppression. There's no such thing as oppression. There's no such thing as oppression. All there is what we will accept, what we will consider that matches our entitlement, what we're entitled to. And when you look at the state of royalty, the state of Malamu, the state of charisma, the state of how stars, the people that have all the money don't buy their food. They go into a restaurant and people are like giving them free food. Even that is the autism. I'm like, how the fuck? Why is that working? Like, why would you even want to go to a restaurant? It's all about understanding this other part. We're all one large creature. It's kind of gross. I don't want you to think about it, but we kind of are. And so when you're looking at where we're at, we are every bit of that centipede. And a lot of people have their mouths sewn to the butthole of the next guy next to them. And they're happy here. And if you want to tell them that, hey man, your mouth's tied to that guy's butthole, he's not going to be happy you telling him that. He's not going to like you. He's not going to be like, hey, thanks for helping me out. He's not going to be like, oh, thanks for helping me out. It's not going to fucking happen. You're going to be the enemy, right? You're the one that's the problem. And I think the white sun is kind of making that harder to do. It's fucking great, man. It's a good day to be a Heyoka, isn't it? You got Heyoka season
Right.
has never been better. Am I right?
Good day.
Hey, Clint, someone, like I said, talking about how long it takes. Just to echo that, man. It's like, that's why I'm so glad that feel like we're at where we're at, is because, yeah, I feel like it's been dragging its feet for fucking 20 years. You know what I'm saying, bro? So it's like to finally,
Yeah.
and like I've mentioned it before, it's like I was in, just in that hole, just offline, all this sort of way, just looking at the world for quite a few years there. And as COVID came in, I'm still in that place. And so it was only a few years ago that I, started, I don't, maybe relaxing enough, as James, you like to say, but that's the why I've connected with you guys. I wouldn't be here had I not kind of gotten out of that. And yeah, it's so that
2017 was, I swear to you, that was the dark place.
That's kind of where it started for me.
It was so slow then. No one was waking up. No one was seeing shit. Everyone was calling you a conspiracy theorist because you were just seeing really obvious stuff. You said Greater Israel. People didn't even like, what are you talking about? Now it's like mainstream, all that. I swear to you, that was the dark ages.
Yeah.
That was the darkest of it all, was there.
I was happy when I found you, James, because just hearing you talk about certain things that you could just the way you would research stuff, the way that you can articulate and put the stuff together, it seems like, wow, how could more people not just, but like we're all, it's when your eyes are really tight, that light is really bright and you can't see anything when someone just shines it right at you. So it is beautiful. I do get it, Brad. And I'm not in a dark place, but like with my dad, with the ICE shit, I was like, you still happy about voting for that fucking guy? And, then he goes into I think maybe some of that had to do with Biden opening borders. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude, this is an 82-year-old guy who is not dumb, but oh my God. So these people that support this shit, I'm afraid to even ask him how he feels now because I still want to be able to help my dad do chores and shit around the house. Because I love him and I don't want this shit to divide and conquer. Because I have love tattooed on both hands because it's not love and hate, it's love and love. I'm gonna kill him with fucking kindness, you know. And if you turn the other cheek, I will punch you in the chin, you know. That that's what's up. But I love you guys, and I'm happy to have this group. It's
Ah,
beautiful
But
here.
well,
thank
I
you.
feel you on the dad thing because my dad's same sort of way, and as I'm sure a lot of you guys know now, it's like my dad had a stroke at the end of the year last year. Um, he wasn't going to change either. I think the age has something to do with it, right, Clinton? Your dad's 82. It's like once they've, my dad's stubborn like that too. He's not going to change his mind, like no matter what, because he made things. But but that's kind of been one of the fortunate things for me about my dad is, and I hate that it took a stroke to do that, but dude, it kind of took out that part of his brain that he doesn't even have any time for that. So I love you say how much you love helping your dad do this sort of thing. I spent a couple of years where it's like I almost couldn't be around my dad and found this sort of way. And it's almost been a blessing in a way that it's like we're enjoying each other's company again. But it's kind of because that part, like he don't have capacity for that anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But he's another one that's fallen off of that train, right? He's not out there stumping the good fight anymore. You get what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
actually,
What James
when it comes on
said.
the TV, he turns it off. By the way, now
Okay,
he
that's
can't even
good.
watch it.
But what James said made a lot of sense as far as like, if I were younger and had to go fight a war and I were to die for Trump, Epstein bullshit, that would fucking destroy my dad. That would be the thing that would maybe open his eyes, you know. But we're supposed to be such beautiful creatures. I feel like we are the most animal-like thing on this planet. We are beasts when it comes to having compassion for the other. Like you've seen this shit with Iran. 80% of these people that they have master's degrees. 80%. And that dude is a fucking heart surgeon and shit. Like, what the fuck? So I'm just saying, we should judge people by by how they are, not what we say about them. You know.
Yeah.
The worst thing that could happen is all this pain would be unalchemized.
Yeah.
Otherwise, this pain is a portal to God. And finding out that JFK, finding out 9/11, finding out COVID, all of these are deep blessings, deep fucking blessings, man. And I'm just glad that we're in a place now where so many are willing to partake. So many feel that they're worth knowing the truth, that it's worth it. I'd rather see the truth of it. And you're going to need more monster trucks. Trump's plan to have a UFC fight on the White House lawn, I don't think you understand how important that is. Like that's exactly what you need. This guy, we picked him because he is Tadaho. He has snakes in hair, and
You
his
can't
hair
not
is
see it. You're
perfect.
right.
His hair is perfect. Yep, it is.
And so you have to honor your dad for picking him.
I mean,
That's right.
I'm trying to tell
Our
you.
elders, right?
I,
But our elders brought that wisdom in, didn't they? And
You
we're
stretching it
denying
more.
it by being, oh, we're mad at Trump. We're denying the very medicine is perfect.
like the
God, this
not
place is
voting
perfect.
when you were talking about not voting. I loved that hard, and then I voted because my dad. I knew what his vote was, so I just countered his vote. But yeah, I gave all that stuff up. I just
See, even that is the entire. If you look at the organism as all the grandparents, right? All the generations together, having one counter the vote of the other is the sine wave changing
Yes.
polarity, right? It is
Yeah.
it's exactly what it would look like. It's so beautiful. We just have
Yeah.
to think longer term, think in Brussels sprout, uh, bass note, really long, low.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
this takes a long time to know the frequency because you have to wait for each crest to hear the note. It's like that, patient.
Good stuff. Go ahead, Lauren, your hand's up.
Hello. I have a question about Web3. I think it was when you said it was contractual that it kind of piqued my interest. I read in a lot of esoteric philosophical books about this white sun being the age of personal responsibility. Do you think that the Web3 is sort of introducing that to everybody and being like,
Yeah, I do. And I
never
think,
get
yeah, and I'm secretly kind of excited about it. The same way that likes, Lauren, were seen when likes first came out and selfies first came out. The
Right.
pushback was, look how selfish our culture is, taking pictures of itself. Look at all everyone's competing for likes. Oh, you're just doing that for likes. And that's how society's been since day one. We've been doing this for likes since day one. And now we're finally fucking quantifying it for the first time. I can see that I have 2 likes and this person has 30,000 likes. I feel better now because I'm not insane anymore. I have a quantified way of understanding my message does not have as many likes as others, even though I think this is right the fuck on, right? It helped me, but it helped me by hurting me, didn't it? It
Yeah.
helps me by showing me the truth that James, people don't fucking like a lot of things that you do and say. But I knew this. I have faith in this great work. I know if I can see more relaxed, it's still going to be better, even if the answer is, James, your mom was ashamed of you. She thought you were into shit that she didn't think you should be into. She thought you found things too emotional. She didn't want to hear your emotional shit. She didn't want you to have deep feelings. She wanted you to be a man who liked Marble Man, just like, it's going to rain today. Help me, let me build you a porch. It was like, that's, then the world wants this, and your ex-wife wanted this, and this girlfriend doesn't even remember you. These were the bad days. And the ignorance of not understanding that, not being able to see, oh, well, now I get it. You're mad because I have feelings. You're upset because I have motivations. Oh, you're pissed because I have a destiny. And you find me annoying because I have too many interests. I'm too sensitive. This is the exact same kind of a thing. It's exactly what I would need to hear. It's the last thing I would want to hear, but it's the only thing that would allow me to survive the coming age of, of kind of what's next.
I feel like it's a bridge of sorts.
So Web3 is going to force you to own everything. Everything you do, everything you see, everything you waste your fucking time on. It's forcing your fingerprint to touch it. And the first thing that happens is that age verification becomes a safety net where it becomes impossible for people that are not a certain age to see content. That's the first thing that happens. Is this evil? I don't think so. I think that if I would have been exposed to marijuana when I was 13, I think it would have destroyed me. I'm really glad that I had enough virginity to make it until I was like 25. That was when I really needed it, by the way. I'm really thankful for that. I'm really thankful that there's a sanctity that's allowed. And the first thing that I noticed that Web3 does is it preserves this kind of a big fucking problem. Kind of a big fucking problem we have. Child exploitation, not even knowing if you're even talking to a child.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Especially-
Web3 fixes that right away. It makes everyone a child, by the way. It actually says you're now when you here's how I told this is what I meant when I said, oh, you guys are gonna have to take it anyway, because I literally you're gonna wake up one day, it's gonna be like, well, sorry, you're probably a child, so I can't show you this commercial for this car. And it's like you're like, what? And that's Web3. It's crushing you. It's literally forcing you. You're going to have to identify yourself in the browser session. And you're going to be like, I don't want to identify myself because you don't want to show your ID because you think you have anonymity. And I'm going to tell you that the same people that insist, I don't want to use crypto, I want to use the petrodollar instead, thinks that they're using clean money, and they're not. They're using some of the most evil, bloody money you've ever seen. Some of the most sickest, psychopathic money that's ever been created in the world is the petrodollar cash, and it's not anonymous. You cannot get money out of an ATM without someone recording your face. You can't even transfer cash over a plane ride or across a state line with someone like Afro Man having his money taken. He had to prove to them that they are required to give him money back, that it's not drug money, and they still kept $400 of it. So we are a hyena that will not stop licking our own evil teats. We won't do it. And these are the people that are on our side. The people that come to my fire, most of them are like, fuck crypto, fuck the system, knowing I'm anonymous forever. You can't trace me. And who am I to say that's wrong? But do you see the conundrum, Lauren? Do you see what I'm saying? There's an issue here, and going forward in the future, in order for your imagination to be fully realized, the thing that's stopping you the most is you thinking that your imagination is private. And I know that this sounds like the best kind of imagination to have. But what if collectively, this sounds so sick, but these are some of the things I think of. What if collectively the reason why children get raped is because of anonymous fantasies being able to persist anonymously? What if our power of placebo is so fucking powerful that we create these demons in real time, and the only thing that is stopping us from creating them is responsibility?
That's exactly it.
Don't you think?
Makes complete sense to me.
And if you have fetishes that you're not allowed to express, you would not want a world that ends the demons. You would want more anonymity. You would want more petrodollar. You would want to preserve this anonymous system to the end. You would want no one to have your record. I got in trouble with flat earthers the other day because I said, wow, it's interesting. Here's another flat earther that has a criminal record. And people attacked me because how dare you try and hold someone accountable for their criminal past? This is a rat's nest. It's one of many. It's one of trillions. And corporate atmosphere has them. The military has them. Every country has them. Every organization has them. And you know what organizations are? You ready for this? They're anonymous cults. Corporation allows you to fucking practice anonymously, doesn't it? You get to hide behind, well, I'm just doing my job, man. Or, well, the church knows what's best. Or Pete Hegseth is fucking in charge and UCMJ says I'm going to listen to him. Or whatever the fuck it is. I didn't raise any wimps. Meaning you're going to do whatever fucking someone tells you to do because that means you're not a wimp because you're fucking obedient. So Web3, I think we're ready for it. I think the system is going to do horrible things to you and me. I think I'm going to be neglected in a corporate hospice facility. I'm going to be tortured and I'm going to want to die. And they're going to take all my organs. The macrophages are going to sell, even though I've filled out all the cards about organ donating. They're going to take it all. I'm going to hate the system. It's already going to eat me. There is no protection in me pretending that I will not tell them my thoughts, that I will hide from this algorithm, because no, I'm going to show the algorithm who the fuck I am. It's going to have to fucking eat me raw. It's going to have to know exactly who the fuck I am. It's going to have to taste me. This is what I mean by all the power is in how addicting you taste to something else. And when the machine eats James True, it's going to go, holy fuck, I want another one of those. It's going to wake up the next day and go, I need to eat another fucking James True. And it's going to have to backtrack its steps and recreate all the fucking things that were necessary to make me come out of the ground. And that means I win.
You're going to be a constellation, and it's
You know?
mine because you're going to taste so good. I believe
Yeah. So when I look at the sporing of the world, the mycelium of the network, all the copper that we've stretched across the world, I see good. I see the lack of darkness. I see the Luciferian fucking agenda. We will bring the light to you through the mycelium of dead mushrooms. You have no idea what's coming. Right. And I know it will eat me. I think this is where people have a problem because they're suffering from a lack of romance of their own annihilation. Because if you can fall in love with this annihilation, I think you can really understand that the system is perfect. I think that that's the first moment you eat a baby chicken egg, the first moment you eat a piece of fruit, the first moment you eat nature itself, you sign a contract to be annihilated. Why would you want to cheat this system that's fed you so much? God, it's given you so much, right? I want nature to just be drooling over how good I taste my berry in her mouth. Just fuck. You know? These are where all the constellations are. So Web3, I think, is going to bring that. It's going to remove another level of anonymity. It's also going to bring a whole other level of anonymity. Privacy becomes even more consecrated. Just as AI is going to define, I think, the artist even more, not less, as we were talking about earlier. Microtones is already happening. This group I was telling you about, Suno can't copy. They can't make that music. The microtones is a new thing humans have created. Why'd they create it? Because everything sounds auto-tuned in AI. So we're going to start playing in fucking microtones. Well, how do I play in microphones? You're going to need to build a new fucking guitar, dude. You're going to need to take that fret and turn it into 3 frets. What the fuck do you mean? I don't know. Just do it. Be a human about it. So the AI is forcing that. It's forcing microtones. What is microtones doing? It's forcing us to discern microtones now. Is there anything more white sun than that?
It's high fidelity.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how are we being more enslaved? We're not.
Well,
And why would you fear the system that's brought this much complexity into you? The complexity makes sense. The omniscience makes sense. And more importantly, your fantasies now get to come online, which means it's impossible for the fetishes that you have. Once you realize those fetishes are power centers, it'll be okay. This is the mitochondria. This is the belief engines. We just think that we're supposed to be ashamed of them because we think we're supposed to be Zaru. We think we're supposed to be completely see-through and transparent. And I'm telling you, Web3 is simply going to make you covet privacy even more. It's going to make you protect it even more. And it's going to become, the word intimate is going to become intimate. It's going to become intimate. White sun intimate. Right? So every human connection becomes deeper. And those connections are going to keep happening over Zoom. They're going to keep happening. And I know there's always one in the group, the gospel of orthodoxy. Well, it's not the same as you. Well, keep telling yourself that. Keep telling yourself that, because not only is it not the same, it's fucking better. You know why it's better? Because you and I can find each other. We're not stuck in our small town surrounded by surrogate fucks that have no fucking clue what the fuck we're talking about. Feeling crazy, feeling cut off, feeling stymied, right? We're invigorating ourselves, which means that we found what? Nutrients. We found fucking nutrients. Where did we find it? In Web 2. God, we are fucked. Right? There's no going back. Why would you want to go back?
No. Well, it's been a wonderful dojo, you guys. I'm sorry we didn't get to Dark Bloom, but maybe next dojo.
Yeah.
And we're about 4 minutes over. So I just think that was worth it, though, James. It was worth it to go over. So gratitude for the great dojo, and for all of y'all. I am so grateful. Why don't you all unmute and say goodbye?
Love you
Good
guys.
night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Love you guys. Have a great night. See y'all soon.
Love you.